1, 2, 3, Macho! What's up, everybody? I just got to Ohio. I'm back at a public spot where I saw a bunch of really good deer, and I was just driving along the river, and across the river, which is also public, I just saw a stud. So as you can tell, I'm not dressed to hunt. I was just kind of taking the day to scout. I did bring my crossbow in case I saw a deer I could hunt today. Tomorrow is the gun opener, so I'm gonna go try to catch this buck out on this point. I'm gonna go way around on the road, trying to get there quick in case something bumps him or he gets out of there, because I marked my spot on Spartan Forge of where he's at, and gonna go try to make a move on him. But it's pouring down rain, so I'm just gonna throw on a rain suit and load up my crossbow and put on some light boots and get out in the rain and try to kill one. All right, I just got my rain gear. The wind's blowing towards the shoreline, so he's got it to where he can smell everything. I'm gonna walk down here on the shore and see if it's firm enough to walk down the edge of the river to him. So we'll see. Oh my gosh. I'm shaking so bad. That's a stud. It's a stud. Oh my gosh. I just spot and stalked this deer to 25 yards. I had a sliver of a lane to shoot through. I don't know if it's a good shot. I felt like it was good. It sounded like it was good, but he ran with his tail up when he ran off. So I'm just gonna go look at the arrow, see if I can find it, and go from there. Well, this is how my season's been. It's been good, but it's been an emotional roller coaster. Very frustrating. I missed him. Can't believe that. I must have had a limb deflection. The only thing you can do when something like that happens is just keep on pushing. Keep having perseverance. Learn from the mistake. Keep grinding. Get back to it. Still sucks. Well, it's the gun opener here in Ohio. I parked across the river where I saw that big buck yesterday, and I'm just periodically glassing over there. I really wanted to wait and see where pressure was being applied this morning. I've heard 2 gunshots on the side of the river where he's at, and I've heard 1 gunshot on the side of the river where I'm at. But as you can see, I got my tent all set up, or truck topper tent all set up, and I've just been hanging out here for the most part this morning, hoping that most people are gonna hunt until about midday and then vacate. We'll see if my plan goes to work, but I was dead tired, a little disappointed, so I decided I would sleep in a little bit till daylight and then just periodically glass across and see if he comes back to his bed. And if not, I don't really know what I'm gonna do. It's a hard decision. You don't know where he's at. Who knows, they might have shot him this morning. You know, that's the thing with deer hunting, is just enjoy God's creation, enjoy your time with him, and don't worry about the rest. You know, if it happens, it happens, but do what you can do within your means and go from there. So from this point forward, I pretty much stopped filming. It was a wild, absolute wild, eye-opening experience. See, I've always heard of the Orange Army, but I've never actually experienced the Orange Army. The closest thing I had been to it is watching like the public land hunters, the hunting public. That is the closest thing I had ever got to experiencing the Orange Army myself, and it's just nothing like that in person. So I drive down the road from this point, and I encounter a church van full of Amish guys getting out. So there's probably like 10 to 15 Amish guys crammed in this van, and they're pulling an enclosed trailer, and they open it up, and like another 20 or 30 Amish guys get out of the enclosed trailer. And I'm like, what in the world is this? And then I drive up the road, and there's a whole nother caravan of Amish guys. And then I drive down the road a little further, and there's all these Mexican guys. And then there's like these one-off like pairs of here and there of, just like white dudes like me that are out there in all orange. And just, I mean, there's just people everywhere. It was like no one the day before on that Sunday. And then it was like more hunters than I've ever seen at one time. It was just so mind-blowing to me. So I decided I'll go 45 minutes away and I'll hunt this other public land spot where I found no one's at. Well, it's probably like 10 minutes into it, and the Mexican guys that were across the way over here, they start man driving that area. So everybody's just man driving like crazy. It sounds like a war is going off. There's so many gunshots. Deer are flying around everywhere. It is just chaotic to me as someone who I've experienced a little bit of dog hunting in Virginia. And other than that, I've just sat in the woods, and whatever deer comes by, comes by. I don't really see another person. Definitely don't experience this man drive and gunshots going off everywhere. It was just really wild for me personally, not coming from any background like that. Well, then I drive over to another spot that I'm like, okay, this is such a small piece of public land that these guys are not going to show up. Well, then this guy comes up, and he's like, you're not about to effing hunt my spot, are you? I've had my blind and my tree stands out here since October, and you're not going to come in here from Alabama and take my spot. And I'm like, bro, you can hunt here. No big deal. So I drive like an hour and a half away. I'm like, okay, I'll go to this spot. Hopefully I won't see anyone. And it's like 4:30, like almost dark. And what do you know? I hear like 3 or 4 vehicles coming down the gravel road, and then like I hear car doors slam. And I'm probably like half a mile in at this point, but I'm up against the river, so I didn't really have anywhere else to go. And all of these Mexican guys start coming in, and I'm finally like, you know what? If you can't beat them, join them. Let's see what this is about. So I asked them. The only person that could understand what I was saying was like this 14, 15-year-old kid, and he's translating for me. And they're kind of like, I don't know if I want you to hunt with us. And then finally they're like, okay, it's our last hunt of the day. Yeah, sure, join us. We didn't see a deer. I think they killed a doe or a buck, a small one, that evening. And they're like, hey, you should come and hunt with us tomorrow. And I'm thinking like, they don't really want me to hunt with them tomorrow, but I had exchanged information just in case. So the kid, the next morning, he texts me about 10 a.m. and he's like, hey, you didn't meet us at the gas station. Everybody's asking you to come hunt. So I decided, okay, you know what? It's chaos everywhere again today. I'm going to go and hunt with them and see what this man driving thing is all about. And I get there, and they man drive this one section, and I kind of sit back because they all have shotguns, and I have a 350 Legend. They don't really want me right there with them. They didn't feel very safe. And a coyote goes running across, and they're all blasting at it, and I don't really have a good shot that's safe. And then we all go to lunch, and they're feeding me tacos and fajitas and crab meat that they had. I mean, it was awesome. I mean, just so welcoming. But there's this one dude, he's over there on the side, and you can tell he just doesn't like me. And so I asked the kid, the only one that can speak English, I'm like, hey, does that guy not like me? Does he not want me here? He keeps looking at me strange. And he says, oh, he thinks you're a ranger. And I'm like, a ranger? What's a ranger? He's like, like the police for the deer? And I'm like a game warden? He's like, yeah, game warden. And I'm like, dude, I'm far from that. So I could see that he was on like Snapchat or TikTok or something like that. So I go over and I show him, the guy's been giving me dirty looks. I show him my YouTube channel, and he's like, oh man, you're on YouTube. And they all start sharing my YouTube, and they're like, hey, can we run your YouTube? And I'm like, yeah, of course. I said, let's make an episode out of this. I said, I actually saw a really big buck down here a few weeks ago. I said, let's go check it out and see if we can man drive it out of these cattails, out of this marsh, out of this thicket. And so we all, they're kind of skeptical at first because it's like a 35-minute drive. And I'm like, I promise it's going to be a big deer. And they're all like, oh, they're trying to tell each other like, macho, macho. And I'm like, yeah, macho, macho. And so we go down to where we're going to set up, and they want me to set back again. So I'm kind of set back, way back here, and all the standers are kind of making their way to right on the edge of the tree line where the deer are going to be pushed to, and all the drivers are getting ready, and they're already starting a little earlier than they should have. So I start hearing them yell and scream, and about that time I look up, and the standers are only like maybe a quarter of the way out to where they all need to be, and there is a big buck just barreling across the field. So I get my gun set up on my tripod, and I'm like trying to get it all, and like, okay, dialed in and everything, and this buck is just running. I'm tracking it. I'm like, okay, about 150 yards. I dial in because that 350 Legend has some pretty significant bullet drop, and I'm thinking he's going to come up to this ravine and kind of go up and over this like levee, and instead, so I'm kind of waiting on him to come up that way. And when he starts to come up that levee, I figured he would slow down and give me a little bit better broadshot shot. Of course, right before he gets to the levee, he decides to turn and go into these cattails. So the only shot that I had was a Texas heart shot, which for those of you that don't know what that means, that is a rear end shot. I shoot him, and he's a full sprint at this point. I shoot him, and he does a complete flip, and his antlers like land in the ground. Dirt goes flying up. I'm pumped. They don't even know what's going on because I have a suppressor on my gun, and the wind is so strong that day. They didn't even hear me shoot. So I had to wait forever, but I start walking over to where this buck is, and I'm like, oh man, he's already dead. That joker jumps up when I'm like 12 yards from him, scares me to death, and I just couldn't get a clear shot through the brush, and he goes crashing off in the cattails. There's blood and guts everywhere. I mean, it is insane. But they all finally get done with their man driving. We don't see any more deer, and they come over, and I'm like, hey, I have a buck over here. This is how I shot him. He's probably wounded. If I can set up kind of on this high ground, and we can all kind of surround him and drive to him and work together, we can go ahead and he don't have to suffer if he's suffering right now. And so we come in, and Juan is coming in, and right as the deer gets the deer jumps right as we're right across from each other. So there's no shot at the time, and he starts running kind of to my right, to Juan's left, and we both shoot at the same time. So got a Texas heart shot originally. I got a heart shot the second time, and then Juan got a neck shot. So the deer drops. I mean, everybody is pumped. They're all saying, macho, macho, macho. We get out of the cattail marsh and drag him out. But I'll go back to the video. So I do have video from this point on. But I just wanted to say before we jump back to the actual footage post shot is there's a lot of different ways to hunt out there. And you may not think, man, I don't like dog hunters. I don't like man drivers. I don't like crossbow hunters. I don't like these kind of hunters. I don't like those kind of hunters. Really, at the end of the day, we always talk about how hunting is a dying sport. It's on the decline, and it is. And it's being attacked from every single different direction. And I'm grateful that there's organizations out there to fight for our rights, and that we get to play a part in that in different ways. But I would just say this is, before you knock it, at least try it. I have got into coyote hunting and turkey hunting, and I love it because it's action-packed. I love, bird hunting, like gun dog type stuff, because you get to talk with your friends. But being able to be loud and walk constantly. I mean, it was like 4 or 5 below zero when we were out there because of the wind chill was so extreme, and we were warm because we were constantly moving during this man driving, and it was just a really good time. And I got to meet a lot of really good people. Almost all of them were Mexican. One of them was from Honduras, and the other one was from Colombia, and just really great people. They invited me back to their home. We ended up cooking the deer that we had shot that day, my buck. I caped it all out to be able to take it home with all the CWD regulations, but I really had an awesome time. And I was sitting in the tree, that morning trying to find spots, and honestly getting a little frustrated, like, man, I'm trying to hunt this way, and these people keep showing up and man driving left and right. And I ended up having a really, really awesome time. So for all of you that are out there that maybe you don't like this way or that way, at the end of the day, I just really want to bring unity to the outdoors. I want to bring awareness to PTSD and mental health, and ultimately want to further, by making a positive and eternal impact through conservation, just further the outdoors for not just me and my kids, but my grandkids and great grandkids, and for many years to come. So I just want to put that message out there, and I hope it hits home with you, because there's a lot of different ways to skin a cat, as they say, but it may not be for you, but that doesn't mean you need to knock it, because at the end of the day, we need to come together as hunters and support conservation moving forward. Let's get back to the episode. Whoa, what an absolutely insane hunt to come to Ohio. So day one,
I got here, found a 160-inch deer on the riverbank, spot and stalked him to 25 yards, had a limb deflection, was devastated, was hunting yesterday for opening day of rifle, or opening day of gun, so you can use a 350 Legend, 450 shotguns, and this awesome group of guys, everywhere I'd go, they would come, and I was like, finally, I was like, can I just hunt with y'all? And so today, I told them last night that I had seen this buck and a bunch of does out here, and they're, the way that they hunt is doing man drives, and if you're not familiar with it, they line up, and you have standers and you have pushers, and they push the buck, and right at the start of where we were trying to push this buck out, he runs across the field, and I hit him. I don't know if I hit him here or if I hit him back here, but he did a front flip, and then he got up and just kind of stumbled in the trees, and his antlers actually got caught in the trees. And then I thought he was dead, so I went in there, and he stood up, and he was just hobbling out into this cattail marsh here. And so I got all the guys, and they lined up, and they started pushing, but we were able to get this beautiful deer. He's a mainframe, actually 11. He's got a broken tine over here on the side. So, but to work together as a team and be able to get this buck for me and Juan, it's just a really cool story. To be able to let these guys welcome me into their culture and to their family and their friendship, to have fajitas with deer fajitas for lunch with crab meat, and just have an incredible time, and them invite me back today. Just really grateful for the opportunity to meet new friends, and hey! Just an awesome group team effort. You know, when you work with people and everybody's selfless and nobody cares who gets the reward, it really makes a big difference at the end of the day. Just on the memory that you get to make as a team and as friends and family. And I'm just super grateful for all of these guys. So what I want to do now is have them each just introduce themselves, just say their first name and where they're from.
Alex, de México.
Delmar, de México.
Juan, de México.
Adrián, de México.
Juan Carlos, de Colombia.
David from United States.
Eduardo, de México.
Elvin, de Honduras.
Ismael, de México.
Esteban, de México.
Eliel, de París. Nah, no te creas, de México.
Israel, de México.
Awesome. So we got Mexico, Honduran, and Colombia. Cool. Awesome, guys.
We got a France guy too.
Oh, yeah? Well, and I got this, and I'm just a good old boy from Alabama that got to come out here and meet some new friends. Just goes to show you to be open-minded to how people hunt. Everybody hunts a different way. If it's legal and it makes them happy, it needs to make you happy. So I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching. If you haven't done so yet, please hit the subscribe button. We'll see you on the next episode. Cool.